Now we're going to get down to the nitty-gritty of what Indians are all about.
I still say we Indian people are believers in the truth. This is the way of life that was given to your people. You're born an Indian, you're going to die an Indian. Indianness is a good life. You're facing an Indian this afternoon.
Good Saturday afternoon out there, everyone, and welcome to your number one source for Native American television news, Native News Today. I'm your host, Jason Salzman, welcoming you in to the Muskogee Media Studios here as we get ready for our latest episode. We think we've got a good one this week. We definitely want you to not go anywhere and stay tuned as we have a couple of stories to bring you from out and about, as well as in-studio guests. So it's kind of the way we like to do it around here. We had a lot of information to disseminate out there. We went to Tahlequah for a big announcement from the Cherokee Nation giving money to NSU in Tahlequah, the school there, for the restoration of the seminary and to create a museum. Also, we went to Norman, Oklahoma. OU wrestler Davion Jeffries, Muskogee Creek citizen, making waves headlines as a freshman, a true freshman, doing a great job there for OU. We'll highlight his story as well. But after this first break, we'll be back in studio with a weekly update from Muskogee Media with Muskogee Nation News editor Sterling Cosper. Don't go anywhere.
We believe if you teach a man to fish, you can feed him for a lifetime. We believe that transitioning convicted citizens back into our communities enhances public safety. We believe that every citizen, even ex-prisoners, are important and are capable of change. We believe in reclaiming our citizens and investing them back into a culture that embraces healing and restoration.
We believe
in reintegration.
It's more than just an associate degree. It's a life-changing experience.
You'll see a lot of cultural features here on the campus. You'll see a symbol of the mound, which goes back to the history of Muskogee people as being in that Mississippian time period, that mound building society. That really welcomes our students whenever they first get here.
The college in itself is beyond the building, is the people.
They're passionate, very passionate about what they teach, and it shows whenever they're teaching.
The instructors and the administration, they really believe in their students here.
After a couple classes, I began to notice that it kind of felt as if I were returning back to something that had been lost for like a long time. As I learned more about the history of my people, to discover that there were very many great people that did a lot of good things for their people, for their nations, and that those people were American Indian and Native American, it kind of brings out a sense of pride that was not really there before.
There is a future for our people.
And welcome back to Native News Today Studios. Jason Salzman here, along with Mr. Sterling Cosper. He is the editor of the Muskogee Nation News, the official publication of the Muskogee Creek Nation, for the first time sitting in the chair here with me today. Sterling, thanks for being with us.
Thanks for having me, Sauls.
Well, I wanted to have you on just so we could talk about some of the things we have going on at Muskogee Media. Obviously, everyone aware of our new bill and some of the changes in the coverage that we've been pursuing. And with that comes a lot of folks out there that sometimes may have information. They want to come to the Muskogee Media as their last resort of disseminating that information, getting it out. They feel maybe they are in a position where they're compromised. They don't want to say anything. We are now providing a hotline for folks that could be able to do that and can remain anonymous. I think it's a great idea.
Yes, that is correct, Sauls. It's just basically to protect their identity. Mm-hmm. Basically everything's going to be transcribed that they said. Mm-hmm. So that's just a further measure of not only are we not asking them to identify themselves, but there's no cues to identify them through their voice or anything like that.
It's perfect, really, because I think that you see a lot of things around here specifically where people do think there might be some recourse. They don't even know, but there's just that fear, and I think a lot of the times things stay in the shadows because of that. Now, I think this provides a great outlet.
Yeah, anonymity is good. I guess the only thing we would ask is that it's credible and relevant information. Mm-hmm. Rumor is fine, but it needs to be something that we can look into and corroborate through official documentation and sources and things like that. So they need to keep that in mind when they call. We may not be able to follow up on everything. It's just based on what we're able to find based on the information they give us.
Great information there, and want to give everybody out there the number. It is 539-777-1174. That will get you to the hotline if you have any anonymous information that you want to get to us, to where we can, as Sterling said, not necessarily publish it right away, but start doing our due diligence as journalists, working, finding documentation to corroborate it all, and make sure that it's something that we want to pursue. So 539-777-1174 for the Muskogee Media Anonymous line. Now, Sterling, another reason I wanted to get you on, speaking of documentation, I hold in my hand the most recent edition of the Muskogee Nation News, and just looking through some of the things in here, a lot of big stories you guys are working on. Wanted to talk to you about one of the things that's right in the middle this week, and that's river development, specifically in Tulsa, where we're doing a lot of development with our casino operation, plus Flying T just a little bit down the way at Riverwalk Crossing. But you recently got the ball rolling with the story talking about how big of a player Muskogee Creek Nation is going to be in that. Just recently, last week on Native News Today, we talked with new Principal Chief-elect James Floyd about Creek Nation's stance and what he thought about it. What are some of the things that you've kind of come across when pursuing and writing the story?
Well, yeah, first of all, I'd like to say this is the first time we've actually previewed an upcoming edition. You've got our December 15th in your hand. Yes, that actually does include your interview with James Floyd just coming into office, and that was what was really interesting when we found out. The Tulsa City Council, the task force involved in trying to get water flowing through the Arkansas River in the Tulsa area, had mentioned that they were going to be approaching us as stakeholders in that project for possible funding. And there were really two things that stood out in my mind. Number one is we know there's been some concerns with the budget and spending. Number two, we've got a new administration coming in, so the timing seemed interesting to me, and I wanted to follow up with the involved parties to find out their thoughts on those things.
And another big tidbit when we're talking about timing, Tulsa got a little mayoral race coming up too.
Yes,
so
sir.
and that even came up in the story where we want to be careful not to let this become a political play. The Creek Nation just becomes some name that people throw around and put our business into their mouths without knowing fully what actually we're going to be doing or what we're going to be providing.
Well, that was the whole interest in pursuing this story. I had seen news coverage that they were looking to approach us, but I didn't see any quotes from our officials. So that was really what I was looking to do. And there's actually quotes from Chief Tiger pointing that out, that the mayoral race may come into play. Actually, the chair of the task force is G.T. Bynum, who recently announced his candidacy for the mayoral race. We also have a great source for this one, Robert Huff, chair of the Business, Finance, and Justice Committee, who would be responsible in looking at projects like that on the council end, but he's also the Tulsa District representative. So I had some credibility there.
Yeah, and I think that's good to get it from all sides. We hear from Chief-elect Floyd, also sitting Principal Chief George Tiger, Robert Huff, Vic Vreeland. I mean, it's a great job of covering all aspects of this story, and we'll continue as the story develops to stay. I'm sure, I'm speaking for you a little bit, but I'm sure we'll continue staying with this story as it continues to develop as well.
Yeah, and it absolutely will. I've already let most of the people I interviewed know that I'll probably be getting back in touch with them as it moves forward. It's interesting you mentioned that name, Vic Vreeland. He's the former mayor of Jinx, and actually one of the first times we've actually gotten a hold of one of the consultants for the tribe. And he gave us a lot of good information. He was actually involved in the original passing of the vision proposal, and this is actually going to be a renewal of that, and he is our consultant, or has been, on that project.
Yeah, another thing too I want to make people aware of as they get ready to have their additions mailed to them, or if they're going to pick them up, is having to do with the river. Just really quickly, right down the Riverwalk Crossing, right at the top of the page, one of our headlines is the fact that at the council, we have the rent as payable to MCN from the Flying T. So not a lot of people are curious about that as well too.
Yeah, and we're going to be looking into a little bit more of the details of the business arrangements with Flying T and also One Fire. We're working on that right now, but it's a lot to tie in. So
absolutely,
going into the new year, those are some things to look out for.
Yeah, and it's really refreshing though to see pick up the new editions of the paper and to see sort of you all's operation, the Muskogee Nation News, kind of growing with us, Native News Today, as in the expansion of our coverage and sort of the new ways and the things that people can look for now in our publications about what we're actually pursuing and what it means to the citizens. And it's very informative, and I think it's a really good time here to both be on the same page with that. A lot of good things happening apparently as we look in the paper, but also a couple of unfortunate situations having to deal with our citizens. I know that you recently dispatched a reporter from Muskogee Nation News, Chelsea Rich, does an excellent job to reach out and pursue the story on the missing Muskogee Creek citizen in Eufaula, the girl that's been missing now for more than 3 weeks, Peggy McGuire.
Yeah, that is a real interesting situation. I think the one thing that really grabs me about that is a gentleman or someone is seen dropping off her truck, and no one knows who that is. Just real unusual circumstances, and that's really the last they have of her presence. So
yeah, and it's something that people out there, if you're wanting to get involved, they still have social media sites that bring Peggy home. Lots of people reaching out through Facebook with her family, and I got to say, it's almost cruel that there's another instance now that we're dealing with the Muskogee Creek citizen. Actually, somebody that I know very well is missing and has been missing for over a week now, going almost 2 weeks. Joshua Pasquelli. Josh Pasquelli, as everybody here around the Altmulgee area knows him as Juice, is a guy that's been missing. His family's very concerned. They've been on channel, I believe 23, came down, did a story over at Creek Nation Housing, the homes over on Oklahoma Street near there. So I think that a lot of people out there are concerned about Josh too, and as we follow this story, there are places to contact too. We'll put it up on the screen and things like that to where you can see that info, but flyers are up, so there's a lot of people out there spreading word of mouth. Hopefully somebody watching this program that knows anything about either of these two cases could hear and know something and come forward, because I think as a community of people that are very community minded, this is something that hits pretty hard.
Yeah, I mean, our whole goal is to do impactful work, and I can't think of anything with more immediate returns than helping with like these missing person cases. And it's basically our mission to reach out to all involved parties, the family, any members of law enforcement that could be involved to help inform people and also have those lines of communication for current and potential future issues so they can keep us on the most up-to-date information. And our staff is always, even in our downtime, looking for developments in those stories to add to our coverage.
All right, Sterling, well, as we always do, we'll keep up with Muskogee Nation News on all of that coverage. Hats off to you all for doing a fantastic job with it so far, and we'll keep an ear tuned to the developments as they come along further.
Well, thank you for having me on, Salzman.
It's great having you. Well, we're going to take a quick break here. I want to thank once again Mr. Sterling Cosper, editor of the Muskogee Nation News, for being with us. And we're going to go to a quick break, but don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with more here on Native News Today.
Looking for your next 18-hole adventure? Then take a look at Fountainhead Creek Golf Club. Nestled in the beautiful confines of Lake Eufaula State Park, large sloping greens and well-placed bunkers characterize the Muskogee Creek Nation's Floyd Farley designed course and offers a fine test of skill for any golfer. Stay up on all the latest gear and equipment with a visit to our pro shop. Have lunch at the Turn at the Clubhouse Grill. We're waiting to accommodate you at Fountainhead Creek. Give us a call at 918-689-3209 or visit fountainheadgolf.com to book your next round. Fountainhead Creek Golf Club, close to home, far from ordinary.
I think like creatively, I was just into drawing for a long time, like ever since I was a kid. It wasn't until maybe around late 2007, 2008 that I became aware of the graffiti scene. It changed everything for me. You don't even really understand in the beginning what kind of journey it's going to take you on, but I think that in order to become great at what you do, it really boils down to how you feel about yourself and how you feel about your own artistic creativity and your own expression. You know, I think it comes from like a belief in oneself and pushing yourself to the limits as far as you can take it.
I want to thank Sterling Cosper once again, the editor of the Muskogee Nation News, for stopping with us last week to talk about some of the things we have going on. I want to thank him for stopping in studio. I believe it was his first time, so we broke him in, and now maybe he won't be so nervous in the following editions of that. So moving right along, our very first feature this week, Davion Jeffries, the freshman sensation at Oklahoma, wrestling for the Sooners. We went up and had a chance to spend a day with OU Wrestling at one of their practices, and also went to the Bedlam meet there in Norman to get some of the footage that you'll see here in the story. But Davion Jeffries from Broken Arrow High School, a Muskogee Creek citizen. Not many true freshmen just jump into the scene and get going, especially for a team that's in the top 10 in the country like Oklahoma and the proud tradition-rich program that it is, OU Wrestling. So it's a very good story here. Davion's doing great things. We're all proud of him here at Muskogee Creek Nation, and we were just so pleased to be able to tell his story. Muskogee Creek citizen Davion Jeffries isn't your normal college freshman. Normally, freshmen don't come in and earn a starting spot for one of the top wrestling programs in the country. But that's just what he's done. Not only earning a spot, but a national ranking as well. OU head wrestling coach Mark Cody talked about Davion's quick start.
It's been great. You know, he's a pleasant surprise, you know, because not many people come in right out of high school. Usually it takes them a year to get, you know, a year of training under their belt and maybe a year of open tournaments, but he's right out of the gate. You know, it's amazing to me, particularly the level of confidence that he has, you know, but I think I attribute that a lot to, of course, he's had great coaching in high school, and he's also wrestled in a lot of national tournaments in high school. You know, he went out and wrestled the Ironman tournament, and, you know, the caliber of that, when you get down to the quarters and the semis, that's and the finals, that's almost a college level tournament. So, you know, but he's just put himself in that position, I think, with all the great competition he's had, along with a combination of his coaching.
Davion's been wrestling for almost 17 years now. Like many young boys, he wanted to be like Big Brother.
I started off with my oldest brother. He used to wrestle and stuff like that. Whenever I was young, I was like, oh, that looks so fun, I want to go out there and do it. So I kind of went out there and did it and had a lot of success while I was growing up. So, I mean, whenever you have success at something, you don't want to stop doing it. So I kept doing it, kept trying to get better and better until now I made it all the way up here and just trying to win a national title now.
Even though the beginning of his season has been marked with great success, he still had to deal with the transition from high school to college competition.
At first in the summer, it was real hard. I mean, I took a lot of losses. It was real frustrating because back in high school, I was the top guy, and now here, transitioning into this, it was a lot harder to get adjusted to it, but now I feel like I've really transitioned really well, and training with Kendrick and him showing me the little tips that helped him out, have helped me out.
For the coach, one of the biggest assets to the team has been Jeffries' personality and attitude in practice.
He's a nice kid. He's a good person, and he's a very confident person. And I think for them to see that, even our older kids, are I think kind of floored by his confidence. That and I think that carries over to the mat. He's got a great ability to make friends, and he's a very good teammate. And even at his age yesterday, I put him in charge of warming up the team and cooling them down, and he's shown a lot of leadership, with our program, and I don't hesitate to put him out there in that role.
Davion also mentioned his goals for the remainder of the season. Lofty, but attainable.
Fix the little things that I need to work on. I mean, because those little things will help me out in the NCAA tournament, where my goal right now is to win a national title or 4.
He's definitely can win a national championship. He can win several national championships. But the thing about our sport is, if you work hard, it doesn't matter how talented you are and how athletic you are. If you work hard, you're going to get there. And he just happens to have both. He's a very talented athlete, and he's a hard-working guy. So the combination, I think, is always good to have.
Coach Cody also mentioned his successful history working with Native American wrestlers, and Jeffries described the feeling of being one of the few Native people represented in Division I wrestling.
I've seen, several Native Americans. One that stands out in my mind, Mike Roller from Tulsa and Shane Roller, both Native Americans, and I had the opportunity to coach Mike at Nebraska, and I had an opportunity to coach Shane at Oklahoma State, and they're both Native American, and so I've seen several Native American wrestlers, and as far as I'm concerned, all the ones that we've worked with are just good wrestlers, good. They have that warrior mentality, and you have to have that to be a wrestler.
It feels good. I'm just out here trying to do my best, trying to show Coach that I'm here to show him why he recruited me. I mean, I've always known that I could be at this level and stuff like that, but it feels good to actually be one of the only ones.
And as far as Coach Cody's concerned, his door is always open for Native American wrestlers.
I've had good luck with Native American kids.
Our thanks again to Mark Cody, all the great people there at Oklahoma Wrestling, Micah Thompson, their communications director there, for hooking us up with the access, all the wonderful people, and of course Davion Jeffries doing a wonderful job. Actually lost his dual match there with Bedlam, but he's looking to bounce back, and we expect great things out of him, not just this year, but as he furthers his career there at Oklahoma Wrestling. As we told you earlier in the show, we went up to Tahlequah, our friends at the Cherokee Nation, announcing a big gift to Northeastern State University there. Lots of people on hand, lots of dignitaries, Principal Chief Bill John Baker, Chris Binge, the liaison to Native American Affairs for the governor, also the Secretary of State. Also, the president of NSU there to make comments as well as a gift of the original blueprints of the Cherokee Nation Seminary. They're housed on the campus of NSU Tahlequah, and that's why we were there, a big announcement giving to that seminary.
OCO, this is a great day in the Cherokee Nation. There is no way that this institution, specifically this building, could ever be separated from the Cherokee Nation unless it was destroyed. I travel all around the United States speaking to Cherokee community groups. Very seldom do I not mention Seminary Hall being the vision of our ancestors of the importance of education and the fact that it was the first institution of higher learning west of the Mississippi for any woman of any race. The majority of our council had graduated from Northeastern State University. Thousands of Cherokees have come through this building since the day it was built, and to this very day, more Cherokees are graduated from this university than any other university in the world. The council, the chief, the deputy chief, when we were elected, we took an oath. That oath says that we will protect and defend the culture, the heritage, the history of the Cherokee Nation.
What I would like to say, what I want to say is on behalf of Governor Fallon, as a lifelong Oklahoman and somebody, I consider myself a lover of Oklahoma and everything that it has to offer, as also a citizen of the Cherokee Nation. I just want to say how enjoyable it is to come over here, and as I drive into Tahlequah, and I was sharing with this with the group earlier, the positive energy that you feel when you come to Tahlequah is just more and more noticeable. And I've seen things develop over the last 2 or 3 years at the events I've been invited to, and you really feel it. And I felt it this morning when I drove in and could see all the things going on as far as what the nation is doing here in this community, and it just builds excitement. It builds momentum, and I think momentum is very key for us in the future as citizens of Oklahoma, and as we work with the nations. I think we're going to see even greater things happen. So it's exciting to be able to experience that.
And that's a wrap on another episode of Native News Today. We certainly hope that you enjoyed this episode, and you can find it, as you can all of our episodes and all of our archived material, on our online channel at youtube.com/MCNcommunications1, as in Muskogee Creek Nation there. Or the best way really is to go to youtube.com and just search Native News Today, Muskogee Media. It'll take you right to our online channel. Boy, we're so excited about that, getting new subscribers every day, getting new people viewing our videos, things like that. Really want to steer you that way. Got a lot of things coming down the pike on our online channel, such as the weekly updates, the first installment that you've seen here on the show today. It's kind of our way of getting them out there and introducing that series. So it's a great tool, online channel for our people that are out of the Tulsa area that want to watch our shows. It's a great tool for people out of state that want to keep up with what's going on at Muskogee Creek Nation. So want to always direct you to that. Also direct you to our social media sites, Facebook, Twitter. That's a great way to stay up on not only what we're doing at the show, but as I said, what we're doing with the tribe, Muskogee Creek Nation, getting out all the information to our citizens, all of the people out there being educated on our tribe, and really the happenings on a week-to-week basis. And the only places to find it is right here, Native News Today on CW 1219 and the online channel. So for Jared Moore, Davion Jeffries, I am Jason Salzman. I want to thank all of you out there for watching our program. We'll see you next time, same place, same channel, same day.